Inspiration is everywhere, and staying inspired is crucial whether you create websites for a living or you need inspiration for your own project. So in this episode, we'll take a look at
3 beautiful websites.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Website Design Inspiration with Kaycinho, a web series, as the name mentions, that I hope will inspire you to level up and create beautiful websites. Now, it may be for your own project or for your clients if you create websites for a living. I'm your host Kaycinho, I'm a digital alchemist, and in today's episode we're going to take a look at 3 beautiful websites for your inspiration. Now, as usual, inspiration is not about stealing someone's work. It's about spotting trends, harmony, and the alchemy that good design is all about. As mentioned in previous videos, in my case, this is an ongoing process. Every time I see something I like, I bookmark it and I take notes about what elements I like in that design. Then I try to implement it with my own style when comes a project that could benefit from it. So, enough talk.
Let's dive in.
Number 3, Opla Cocktail. Now, this is a very beautiful website, and the first thing I like about this website is the color palette. As you can see, there is also a subtle animation, like a lighting animation that goes just behind the bottle, and I think it's really interesting. Now, when it comes to website inspiration, you don't want to be literal. What I mean is that even if you don't have to create a website for a wine cocktail company or for your own business, maybe it's completely different, but what you want to do is just to get inspired by the mood. And here the mood, in my opinion, is fine for anything that has to do with nightlife. Could be parties, could be events, whatever it is, but the color palette and the mood is really nice for nightlife. So let's look at this page. So first of all, it's a one-page website, and actually you can see there's navigation here on the right hand side. But if you click on the navigation, first of all, the nav is really beautiful, but it's going to take you to the anchor on the page. So actually on the same page. Now, the first thing you notice is that the icon to open the menu is not the typical menu. I mean, it's a typical icon, but usually it's not angled that way. So that's the first thing that can catch your attention. It's a hit or miss. Some people will like it, some people will hate it, and some people just won't care about it. But that's the first thing I noticed, maybe because I work in that industry. But sometimes it's a good thing to be a little bit different. Just make sure that your target market would think the same. So the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that most of the text on this website is actually in uppercase, and usually I hate that. I like uppercase, but not everywhere, because otherwise it just looks like you're screaming, and that's not really what you want to do when you want to catch someone's attention and you want them to stay on your website. But in this design, it actually looks quite good, and I don't know why, but actually I know why. It's because there is harmony in this design. So let's scroll down. When you scroll, you see this cute animation, and you're going to see it right now. So that's quite interesting, and I haven't seen that too much. So once again, it's always nice to see some new stuff, and as long as it's subtle and it's not like moving everywhere, I think it's quite nice. And once again, if it fits your target market, then it's all good. So let's scroll down. Now here I like that, I like the color change, and also the fact that when I move the mouse, you see this, it's kind of a slider, like an invisible slider that I can actually control myself. And when I go left, I have the lemon mango bottle, and when I go right with the mouse, I have the strawberry lime. So I kind of like that also. The only thing is that here you can see there's a difference in size between the two bottles, but it's only because I'm watching this on high resolution screen. When I first watched it on a regular screen, it was okay, but that's something that should be fixed in my opinion. Now let's scroll down. Once again, we have this cute animation with the recipes. And also one thing that I really like, and it's really modern, is the big and bold title in the background. You can see here Opla right here in the background, and I really like that too. Okay, so we're reaching the end of the page, and you have the contact us, and when you click, you just have an overlay with the form. Now let's have a look at the mobile version. Same thing for the navigation icon. The menu still works great. Still have that skewed animation, but as you can see, they decided not to use the slider for the mobile version and make this simpler. Now, it depends. I think with only 2 items, they could have kept the slider, but yeah, it would have been difficult to get all the details visible. So I kind of understand that decision. Okay, so let's scroll down. And as you can see, it works really nice on mobile, just as it worked on the desktop. Number 2, Hitachi. Now, this is not the main Hitachi website, and actually this website was done by an agency called Plastic from Barcelona in Spain. And this is more on the corporate side. So whether you need to create corporate websites for your clients, or maybe you're just trying to create your website yourself for your company, and you got that corporate brand identity, then it's good to get inspiration from this website. Now, first of all, non-symmetrical design is really modern, but I like it when it's well done. And I like it here because there are some subtle elements, like here on the left hand side, you can see the title here, it says cooling and heating. But actually when you get on the secondary pages, this part is for the breadcrumbs, so that you can go back to the home page or wherever you are. And I found this interesting in the design. The second thing that I like about this website is this spot here. Now, if you've built a few websites, or maybe even if it's your first one, but you have a big hero section like this one here, you've probably come across that problem where the text is not really readable, so you need to add an overlay on top of your image, but then your image becomes really dark, and depending on the image, it may or may not work. Now here they found a solution by using this big flat color rectangle, and then they can put white text on top of it. It's really readable. It adds a layer of beautiful minimal design on top of the image that is completely genuine, completely untouched. So you don't need to add an overlay on top of this image. And I think that's quite interesting. And actually, I know I may be using this kind of system in some of the websites that I'll be creating soon, because this is something I've always had issues with. Now, usually I use a smaller rectangle or a square, but here I like the verticality of the rectangle that goes all the way to the end of the screen, actually. So that's something I really enjoy. Now, the next thing I like is the subtle design for the arrows here. See, in my opinion, good design comes in the details, and this is the kind of details that I personally enjoy. Now, it may be completely subjective, and maybe you don't like that, but I really like it. I think it really blends in the whole design, and you actually see it here on the left hand side, but here on the right hand side also, and we'll see a little bit lower on the page. So let's move down. Now, this may be the only section that, I think maybe a little bit too empty. Even though I love white space, I love minimal design, but I feel like there's something missing here. Maybe that trend where you have the big bold text in the background, and then on top of the big bold text, you have the same text, and but smaller and more readable. And we'll see that even lower on this page. Okay, so let's move on to the next section where you have those subtle animations when you hover over the images. And actually there's a double animation, because when I move the mouse over the image, you can see the size is changing, but also the arrow is moving. Now, for most of these effects, you could try and have fun and recreate those, this page in Elementor or Divi Builder, Beaver Builder maybe, or Breezy, for example. Or you could use Oxygen or Thrive, whatever you're using. But this is how you learn your craft. This is how you get better. You see something and you wonder how they did that. And then you start looking for the way to do it, either to code it or look for add-ons. And for example, for Elementor, there are a lot of add-ons that could actually do this. Actually, some of these you can actually just do it with Elementor Pro. Okay, so let's move down. So once again, this is a little bit like the section that I talked about earlier. And then we have this section here. So first of all, you can see there's kind of a parallax effect on the air. Once again, big, bold text. This is really trendy, and this is something we're going to see all through 2019 and beyond, in my opinion. Then we find that subtle animation once again, and the arrows. So design is very consistent, always with the flat color background so that the text is really readable. Okay, so let's move down, and this is what I was talking about. Here you can see the big bold magazine title, and then on the front you can see magazine once again, but smaller and more readable. And that's what I was talking about for this section here and this section here. I feel that they could have used the same system, but once again, this is personal opinion. Okay, once you hover over the images, once again you have this animation. And I also like that design here with the white block, where they just reverse the colors, but it's the same principle. You have a block with a flat color and a contrasted text, so that works really well. And this is the pre-footer and the footer, and once again, very minimal, a lot of space, and it works just fine. Now let's have a look at the mobile version. So contrary to the previous example, here we have a very regular navicon or hamburger icon, except that this time it's placed on the left. This is also something we see a lot lately, the navigation on the left instead of on the right hand side. And once you click on it, it's a full screen navigation. Really nice, really straight to the point. So let's move down our page. Now, of course, you won't have hover on the mobile, but you still have the animation when you first get on the page, and that's quite nice. You can move the slider around with your finger. Okay, and still those animations. And as you can see, they reversed the text here. So if you go back to the desktop version, you can see that here is horizontal and here they made it vertical. I mean, they actually rotated 90 degrees, but that works really fine. And the footer is beautiful. So if you need inspiration for a corporate website, I think this is a very nice example of what to do. 1. Arc shelter. Now, first of all, my apologies if the video in the background is a bit sloppy. That's probably my internet connection. And that would be my first point. Even though I love this website, I kind of understand that, you know, video is great and they want to show their products in context, and that's beautiful. But maybe there should be a way when the internet connection is not that good that it would load a picture instead, maybe with a Ken Burns effect, you know, that effect when it's slowly zooming in or out of the picture. And then make sure that when the internet connection is good enough, then you can start the video. Now, with that out of the way, I actually love this website. If you know me and my channel a little bit, then you know that I love minimal design. And if it's your first time here, then now you know that I love minimal design. And this is more like Scandinavian type of design in the architecture of the product, but also on the website. And maybe they're not at all from Scandinavia, but this is really what it makes me think about. This is really something that I personally love. So let's have a look at this website. Let's scroll down. So first of all, something I really love is the fact that when you're in the first part of the website, you have this big white rectangle with very clear text that you can read. And I think it's really working well with the current trends. You know, current trends are all about non-symmetrical design, and actually like symmetrical design. So I'm learning to love non-symmetrical design also, but I like when it's done the right way. And here I feel, at least in my subjective opinion, that it's done the right way. So let's scroll down. So when we reach this stage, it's very typographic. I mean, it's all white, but the way they use the white space and they use typography and the visual hierarchy is beautiful in my opinion, because there's a lot of text, but it doesn't feel like you don't want to read it. You know, I'm not saying you're going to read everything, but it's easy to spot the title. It's easy to spot the first part of the text to let you know if you want to read further, and I like the way it's structured. The typography is beautiful too, so let me look at what font they use. They use the circular font. Okay, so it's all circular. Let me take a look. Yeah, so it's circular font. Okay, so now let's move back in here, and I kind of like that. I mean, this is not web design related, but it's just a good use of some features. So let's click on look around in the arc shelter. Then you can just drag around, and I like the fact that this big bold round button says drag me, because it may make sense to you and me, but to some people, they wouldn't know what to do, you know, unless they start moving the mouse. But here it's good usability to let me know that I can just drag things around. Now, on a side note, I mean, it makes me want to get this kind of arc shelter. I mean, it's beautiful. And this is a really good use of features, like I said, because some people will put that kind of 360 virtual environment, but to no use, just for eye candy. And here, it really makes me feel like I'm inside the arc shelter, and it makes me understand, you know, how I would feel if I was in there. So I think this is really, really beautiful. So let me close that, and let's go back to our page. So once again, very good use of the white space. It makes it look really classy, really high end. Now, of course, the good pictures help, even though when they took the pictures, you can see that the weather wasn't that great, but still, it all looks really nice. And the color treatment is also very good on this picture, because everything looks, you know, grayish and not really exciting except the window, so you really focus on the center of the image. Okay, you can drag the slider around and take a look at the various pictures. Now, the only thing I didn't enjoy too much was that text. The length of the text is way too lengthy in my opinion, especially when you're on a big screen. But I mean, for the rest, I think it's just working great. It's really beautiful, and it's a good inspiration if you need a very typographic website or architectural website. I think that would be a good fit. Once again, this is not about stealing, but it's about some elements. It's about, for example, I like the big white rectangle. I like the typography and the way they use the white space. You know, this is really inspiring me. And the features that you want to use on a website, always make sure that, okay, eye candy is good, but you really want to make sure that what you're adding on the website is going to help the person that's viewing the website to better grasp a concept, a product, or a service, for example. And then it all makes sense. And that's when you can really enjoy very smart design. Now, let's have a look at the second page. Once again, we have a big white rectangle. It's not as big as on the home page, but you get the idea. So design is very consistent. This website is all in verticality, even in the pictures they chose. And once again, the typography is just beautiful. Actually, this one is quite interesting. So yeah, I'm showing you the design, but actually, I would enjoy one of these shelters. So yeah, kind of food for thought for for the future. Okay, so let's have a look at what it looks like on the mobile. It's just plain beautiful in my opinion. Navigation is really really nice, and they use the same principle to make sure that there's some edge between the white background rectangle and the edge of the phone, so that you can actually see that this is just part of the design. And once again, the font and the typography looks gorgeous on the mobile too, and it works really well with the white space. Okay, so that's about it. That's about today's episode. We saw those three websites. One was really creative, the second one was really corporate, and the last one, but last but not least, actually the first one in my top three today, is the Arc Shelter, because I think it's really beautiful. You could actually use it for a corporate website, or you could use it for an artist website also. So it's a bit of both. So I hope that you found elements for your inspiration in one of these three websites, or maybe in the three websites. So make sure you bookmark those websites. You find all the links in the companion blog post. And if there's any element that you like, make sure you actually document it. Write it down in a note app, make some screenshots, create a mood board, and make sure you really document why you liked this or that element on each of these websites. So I hope that this video gave you some website design inspiration for your next project, and that you found some value in it, whether you prefer the more creative website, the corporate one, or the minimal design of Arc Shelter. Now, I'd like to know, which one of the three did you prefer and why? Let me know in the comments, and by the way, you find the companion blog post on my website kaycinho.com, and of course the direct link is in the description of this episode. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, as it really helps growing this channel, and if you know someone that could benefit from it, please share it now. If you're not yet a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and smash the notification bell so that you don't miss anything. Now, if you want to brand, market, and grow your business in the digital age, then make sure you subscribe to my email newsletter so that you never miss your share of digital alchemy, as well as tips, tools, services, and case studies that can help you grow your business online. So that's it for this episode. I hope to see you around, and in the meantime, don't forget to invest
in your success.